Hey everyone, my name is Poisonblade and I hope all of you are doing well today. So for today's video, I'm building a llama habitat, which also serves as a thank you to Esten Wolf for not being a complete and total jerk. So let's get started with the video, shall we? Yeah, I should probably give some explanation or context for that intro, because I think it's warranted. But basically, to keep it short, one among my big list of fears when it comes to reaching out or striking up a conversation with any other YouTubers is that they are like a completely different person off camera, which so far, luckily I haven't met anyone who is like that, so yeah, Esten isn't a complete and total jerk. So as a thank you for not being a jerk, I built him a llama habitat, or basically a built-in Kayan al-Bashar, because no way in hell, mate, am I going to let you build or touch Kayan al-Bashar, because if you touch Kayan al-Bashar, you will lose the finger, the hand, the arm, and everything attached to it. Because I have a problem and I'm weirdly possessive of Kayan al-Bashar. So yeah, the best thing I can give you is a built-in Kayan al-Bashar. And yeah, the story surrounding the llama part is, at least on my part, I think rather interesting, and for me at least, very funny, because yeah, I mean, it was kind of easy if I would have gone for wolves, because Esten wolves. So yeah, that would have been kind of low-hanging fruit to give him like a wolf habitat. So when I asked Esten for any animal he would associate himself with, I immediately, like right off the bat, like I just said, any animal you associate yourself with, excluding or besides wolves. Shot down one animal right off the bat, and then the first thing this guy said was birch. Mate, we don't have birch yet in-game. How can I build a habitat with birch? Because they would just be static items, and even though they are amazing, like the static or like the custom-made animals that you do see on the workshop, they are beautiful, but I want an animal that actually moves. So then I asked mate, or well, I said Esten, I think, but I asked him for any other animal, and then he said grizzly bears. And I was really happy with that, because I thought like, oh, I can do something with grizzly bears, they kind of can fit in with the Elysian fields. And Kayan al-Bashar, mate, Kayan al-Bashar already has grizzly bears and I completely forgot about them. And then I felt really awkward, like this might just be me, but I didn't want to bother him by asking him for basically a fourth animal, because I shot down wolves, I shot down birch, and now I had to shoot down grizzly bears as well. So then it was just like, what animal can I use for as that? And I was kind of desperate, and so the first animal that I did think of was the Arctic wolves, but I have another build in mind when it comes to the Arctic wolves, which might happen, might not happen, depending on how large the Elysian fields is going to get, because I have no idea how large this area is going to get. Not that large actually, but still. But yeah, that was kind of low-hanging fruit, so I just decided, you know, I want to do things that aren't low-hanging fruit, so for some reason, and I really don't know how to explain this, but for some reason, for a long time, I wanted to give Esten a goat habitat. Why do I associate Esten with goats? I don't know. Like, I couldn't give you an explanation for that one. Maybe I think of Esten as being stubborn, I don't know, but hey, they somehow got stuck in my brain for some time. And then I moved on to llamas. Also don't know how that got stuck in my brain, but I mean, it works with the Elysian fields, because llamas, well, they are South American, but they are pack animals, or yeah, I think you call them pack animals. No, not pack animals, but what are they called? You know, kind of like oxes, donkeys, horses, and such, like they carry things. Carrier animals, I don't know. Forgot the name for it. It's almost 7 PM here, so you guys are getting sort of late Poisonblade, but I can't really use that excuse because it's not that late for me, but yeah, I'm going to use it as an excuse because I'm a YouTuber. I always have an excuse ready. But yeah, for some reason llamas got stuck into my head, and then it kind of worked with the Elysian Fields because the Elysian Fields is supposed to be like the more like farm area, more like craftsman and such. I could make this video as clickbaity as possible because I can put Esten's name in the title. I can put the llama, which to my knowledge isn't that much used in videos when it comes to Planet Zoo, although that might also be because I don't really watch a lot of Planet Zoo videos except for like a select few people that I do watch. So it might just be because I'm a YouTube hermit as well. But I can also put a llama butt in the thumbnail because if you looked at those animals, they have chunky butt. And yeah, again, remind me, how did this animal make me think of Esten? I mean, I haven't seen the guy's backside. Maybe he has a Nicki Minaj butt. I don't know. Yeah, I should probably move on from this before... Well, I think the damage is already done. I can already see Esten blocking me on everything. I'm still going to tweet this video probably out to him because I'm a YouTuber, so that means I'm an attention whore. Anyway, so moving on from the llama butt, I don't know how I can make a segue from the llama butt, but I'm going to try. But thinking of Esten while building him a house, because of course I didn't just give him llama butt, but I say butt a little bit too much right now and I can't contain myself anymore. But when thinking of Esten while building a house for him, it was kind of difficult. First of all, I can't build him like an estate or a palace because the Elysian Fields is kind of... well, it's the farm area, and what I like when it comes to farms is like the really large and open fields and then the tiny buildings in there. And yeah, some large builds that I've planned, but those are like very far and few in between. So couldn't give him like a mansion or something, which this building is still kind of large for the Elysian Fields, but it's right next to Tower Ridge, so it can still be a little bit larger. But yeah, if I built this later on in the Elysian Fields, Esten would probably get a really tiny shack, because most of the buildings are going to be like maximum like 8 by 4 meters. I did give him a larger building, but also, yeah, Esten has a gift that I do not have, which is to be really versatile when it comes to the use of colors and just using multiple colors in one building. So yeah, I just like my buildings monochromatic and beige. Like, if it's not a beige building, get out of here. So could have seen that I still struggle with that because most of the house is still beige and that red color. Like, all of the buildings in Kayan al-Bashar have like really muted colors except for a very few. But then the Elysian Fields is also not supposed to be a very wealthy place, so they can't really have too many colors in the building, so I kind of built myself into a box here. But I, in the end, did make it, yeah, the only word that I can think of when I think of Esten's house in Kayan al-Bashar is quirky. Because I did in the end give him a zip line, so yeah, Esten basically... when looking at Esten's buildings, I always get this like sense of, I would call it beautiful chaos. Like, he can really build things that aren't just a rectangle, which I am guilty of. Like, if you, well, watch a lot of buildings from above or view buildings from above in Kayan al-Bashar, you will basically see that they are like rectangles on rectangles or rectangles attached to another rectangle, maybe with a tower attached to it. And then of course a dome. Yeah, if you look at Esten's home from above, I'm still guilty of making it into a rectangle. But I tried to make it a little bit out of the box for me. So I also gave him a Noria, or just a water pump, because Esten's house is kind of an odd one in Kayan al-Bashar. I really believe that like Esten is right now like hovering over the block button on everything. But Esten's house is actually not on a floating island. It's actually on a plateau, I think is how you call it. I think I don't pronounce it well because I want to pronounce it the Dutch way. But it's on a plateau which, if you have watched the first version of Kayan al-Bashar, the cinematic video of Traders District, yeah, the first few seconds there are those plateaus which are really lush. But that's kind of what I wanted to achieve with the Elysian Fields as well, to kind of bring back a little bit of the old Kayan al-Bashar. However, in the lore of the new Kayan al-Bashar, these plateaus and just the mountains in general, like Kaya Village and Atlas Hamlet, are supposed to be the more dry places. Like the floating islands are somehow filled with water, but the actual mountains and just the places that are stuck to the ground are somewhat drier. So you have to like do something with irrigation to make these places fertile for agriculture and such. So I did give Esten the first Noria in Kayan al-Bashar. I am probably going to build more of these because that's just the idea with the Elysian Fields, to have like Norias and more like irrigation type of stuff. Well, the llamas also work with this because they are supposed to be like, I really forgot what the name is. Like, I want to say pack animals, but then with pack animals I also think just of lions and such, as like pack as in a group. So I don't know what the correct name for it is. It works because they can, well, the llamas can operate the Noria, because this isn't supposed to be like a magical Noria. Like, I like magic when it comes to, you know, making the islands float and such, but I don't want magic to be basically everything in Kayan al-Bashar. Like, I think that would be like a cop-out if I just said like, oh, this is powered by magic. No, this is powered by llamas. Which, come to think of it, I kind of want to name a llama Esten, so basically that means that he works in Kayan al-Bashar. I mean, I have to do chained up in my basement because I want him to do more with Kayan al-Bashar. That's a joke. Don't come search my basement. He's not there. Nope. Anyway, yeah, it's, I can't use the excuse that it's late because again it's like 7 p.m. here, but I'm just in one of those moods, and maybe it's because of the llama butt. And also this is surprisingly another way in which Esten's build is different than anything else in Kayan al-Bashar, is that it's almost actually too small for the llamas. Like, it's, most habitats in Kayan al-Bashar are way too large, which kind of, well, I built myself into a corner because all the other habitats are a little bit too large, and then the Elysian Fields, which is supposed to be like large open fields, almost doesn't have that much room anymore. So yeah, I should have thought about that, didn't I? But then I started building the Hagia Sophia and everything went downhill from there. And yeah, I mean, I still really like Esten's house in Kayan al-Bashar, and I need to still make it a little bit more quirky. I don't know why I got it into my head to like start using the word quirky, because I've never used it before, but that's literally all that I can think of when I think of this build. Quirky. But I mean, I really loved building the Noria. Like, it was a little bit of a trouble because, like, when I want to build a Noria, I mean, when I want to build anything, basically, I want to make it huge. And this Noria, I couldn't do that because, I mean, otherwise the llamas wouldn't have any room. But here is the most quirky thing. I really need to stop saying quirky, but for some reason I really love the word right now. Like, do you guys ever have it that you like just want to say a word constantly, even though it even annoys yourself? The same actually with animals. Like, sometimes I get an animal stuck in my head and I want to use it everywhere. And now it's like the word quirky for some reason. But anyway, so as I said before, I did give Esten a zipline, because Well, I wanted to. That's the only reason. I wanted to give him a zip line. Like, well, I wanted to build a tower, and then I thought like, oh, it's pretty close to Esten's house. You know, let's give him a zip line. So, I mean, it also kind of works with like the Assassin's Creed vibe that Kayan al-Bashar gives off. I almost wanted to say that Esten gives off. I mean, we don't know what he does in his free time. Maybe he's fighting Templars. Maybe that thing is, well, no. Yeah, again, I'm like in one of those moods today, and you can't stop me anymore. Like I'm halfway, or well, more than halfway through this voiceover already. Like you can't stop me. Like it's game over. It's this is what happens when I make 3 videos a week. I mean, again, I'm productive this week, which is weird because, like, sometimes I just have weeks that I'm really, like, want to work as much as possible, and then other weeks I'm just like, like, some weeks I just have loads of ideas, and other weeks it's, this commentary is going nowhere. But yeah, this is basically what happens when it's later and I'm in one of those moods. There's no sense in the voiceover anymore, but I still wanted to give something that makes sense, so I built a grain field. Because in Valhalla, people ask me like, how did you make those grain fields? And you do need to have the Australia pack for the grain fields, because it's basically those grass pieces that the Australia DLC gave, but then sink it into the ground to hide the green bits of the grain fields or the grass pieces, and then it looks like a grain field. Also gave some almond trees, so yes, the actual habitat that I gave Esten was small, but I considered this grain field and the tower and the grain field right next to the llama habitat to still be part of Esten's domain, basically. So yeah, your habitat is small, Esten, but your build in general is quite large, and I really like it. I mean, you wouldn't see it if I didn't like it. I probably should have asked if he was okay with llamas before I built it, because, well, I really just asked it after the fact. I was like, I'm finished with the build. Esten, do you have anything with llamas or something? And he was fine with it, so that was a load off my back, because I basically forgot to ask him anything about like, oh, I'm building this habitat, but I don't know if he actually likes llamas. Maybe he has like a traumatic experience with llamas, and then he will hate me forever and will block me, and then I will not really do much, actually. Yeah, I should stop the voiceover here because it's getting way off track. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope you could make sense of this voiceover, because I sure couldn't. I really just had fun and started talking about random crap and llama butts. So hope you enjoyed today's video. There's the like and subscribe button if you want to see more of this rambly squirrel. And there's the bell icon that is going to summon llama butts to your house if it works. So anyway, wish you all an amazing day. Bye bye.